Hello guys and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about chemistry chapter 3rd, metals and non-metals. So before starting this video, I'm requesting you to please subscribe to my channel, like this video and comment if you have any questions. So we are going to discuss about the chapter 3 of science, that is metals and non-metals. Before starting this chapter, I like to discuss about what is metal and what are non-metals. Metals are those things which are found, means the metals are those elements which have positive electrons, means that they have 5 6 or 7 electrons in their valence shell, and the non-metals are those elements which have 1 2 or 3 electrons in their valence shell, means the metals are electropositive ions and non-metals are electronegative ions, have electronegative ions. So metals and non-metals are parts of the element. There are three types of element: metals, non-metals and metalloids. Metals have their physical properties and chemical properties, and non-metal have their physical and chemical properties. So in this chapter we were going to discuss about the physical properties of the metals and non-metals and their chemical properties and the extraction of the metal, that is called metallurgy. First of all, when we talk about metals, there are many physical properties of metal. The first is the malleability, means metals can be hammered into thin sheets. For example, if we took a metal that is aluminium, then we have to hammer it and then it can be malleable, means it will be a thin sheet. Then we come to about ductility, the property by which a metal can be drawn into thin wire, that for example copper wire, silver wires. Copper wire are used in electricity, and as well as silver wires are also used in their electricity. And the best ductile metal is the gold. It can be drawn into 2 kilometer of wires. From 1 gram of gold can be drawn into 2 kilometer of wires. And tungsten, which is the most ductile metal, it have invisible, it is very ductile that it can be drawn into invisible wire. So that ductility process is also ductility property, that which is physical property. It is also shown by a metal. Then we come to know about ductility, malleability, then conduction of heat and electricity. Heat and electricity, the metals which have free electrons, means these are electropositive electro ions. So they have their free electrons in their surface, so they conduct electricity, heat and electricity. For example, copper, aluminium, silver are good conductor of heat and electricity. We have discussed about conduction, malleability, ductility, sonority. Sonority is the property which is, if we talk, means these are these produces sound when touches. For example, gold produces, iron produces sound when it is touched by another metal. Then we have property, that is brittleness. Brittleness means when touched with the hard, when touch or it is stuck with a substance, that it can be broken. But all the metals are non-brittle, they are not broke by a piece of anything. Then we have ductility, malleability, sonority, conduction of heat and electricity. Then metals are generally found very hard, but there are some exceptions, that are lithium, potassium and sodium. These metals are generally soft in nature. Then we come to know about non-metals. Non-metals are those substances which which have electronegative ions, means for example there are non-metals, we can say oxygen, chlorine. These are non-metals. In the non-metals, first of all, they are usually soft in nature. There are some exception, as we know this is chemistry. The exception know about non-metals. Non-metals are generally electronegative ions. Electronegative ions are those ions which have, means 5 6 or 7 electron in their valence shell. So non-metals generally are soft in nature, but there are some exceptions, physical properties, that is non-metals are generally soft. But diamond, which is hardest substance found in earth, and the second one is graphite. These are some exception. Second, non-metals are generally non-shiny, means they don't have any shiny surface, but exception is diamond, which is very shiny in nature. Then we have exception, that is then we have third property of non-metal, that ductility. Non-metals are generally not drawn into wires. They are non-ductilable, non-malleable. They are brittle, means they can be broken when applied force on them. When we apply force on them, they can be stuck into pieces. Then they are non-ductible, non-malleable. They do not produce sound, means they are non-sonorous. These are some properties of a non-metal. Then we have chemical properties of a metal. When a metal react with acid, it produces salt and hydrogen gas. For example, when zinc reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid, it produces ZnCl2, means zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. All metals react with, which are above in the reactivity series, means which are at the top of the reactivity series above hydrogen, reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid and dilute sulfuric acid. But there is an exception, that metals do not react with dilute nitric acid, and they do not produce hydrogen gas. Hydrogen, means nitric acid, it acts as an oxidizing agent, and it oxidizes the hydrogen gas and it produces water. But there is an exception, that manganese and magnesium, these two metals react with dilute nitric acid to produce H2 gas. Because of their oxidizing state, they have 7 plus oxidizing state. That is, then we have the property of acid that reacts with dilute acid, means a metal that reacts with dilute acid gives a salt plus H2 gas. Then we have property that metal reacts with carbonate, gives salt plus water. Metals react with hydrogen carbonate, gives carbonic acid and salt. Metals react with acid and base react, then it is neutralization reaction, as we know, salt plus water. Then we have an exception in this case, that we understood about nitric acid, that nitric acid do not react. Then we have some properties of non-metal also. Non-metals forms means there is an one property of metals also, that metals react with water, gives H2 gas when reacted above reactivity series. In above means above then hydrogen, then it gives uh, metal plus water gives metal oxide plus hydrogen gas. And there are some amphoteric oxides which acts as acid when reacts with base, and reacts as base when react with acid, means these are dual objectives. Then we come to know about amphoteric oxide, that is zinc oxide. When zinc oxide react with dilute HCl, it gives ZnCl2, means zinc chloride plus water. When ZnO, means zinc oxide, react with means base sodium hydroxide, gives sodium zincate plus water. That is the dual properties of amphoteric oxides, that are metal oxides. So metal form oxides when react with metal plus oxygen, reacts when gives metal oxide plus H2 gas. Metal reacts with water to give metal oxide plus hydrogen gas. Metals also react with dilute acid to give salt plus H2 gas. Metal do not react with dilute nitric acid to give hydrogen gas. So there are some exceptions, that is manganese and magnesium. Then we come to know about non-metals. Non-metals reacts with oxygen to give non means acidic oxides, that is S plus sulfur plus oxygen, that is SO2, and SO2 reacts with water to give H2SO4, means sulfuric acid. CO2, which is a non-metal oxide and it is acidic in nature, when reacts with water it gives carbonic acid, that is H2CO3. Then non-metals reacts with non-metals do not react with any other substances. Then we have some metallurgical concepts. First process is froth flotation, second is magnetic separation, and third is gravity separation. When metals are found in native states, in highly reactive metals are not found in a native state, they are usually present in their molten state. Then we have which metals are found in middle of the reactivity series. They are usually found in ores or gangs, and they are present in oxide are there in ores. In magnetic separation, we separate the metal oxide, means we separate the gang by magnets. Then we do calcination or roasting to give metal oxide, and after we get metal oxide, we react with electrolysis to give metal and oxide. There are another thing. So I hope you understand the whole concept of chapter 3. This is a summary of the chapter 3, that is metals and non-metals. Thank you for giving precious time to us. Thank you. Hope giving back.